You're in the room. You're listening. You're present. But you're not talking much. And somewhere across the table, someone decides what that means. That you're bored. That you're rude. That you think you're above it all. That something must be wrong. You watch them reach that conclusion in real time. You see the slight shift, the way they stop including you, the way they start performing a little louder as if volume is the only language that counts. And you don't correct them. You don't explain yourself. You just stay quiet and let them be wrong. And somehow that makes them more suspicious. Society has a word for people like you. Shy, withdrawn, cold, difficult to read, hard to know. And those words sit on you like clothes that belong to someone else. They fit the outline but not the person inside. Because here's what they don't see. What they will never see from across a dinner table or a conference room or a party they invited you to and are now regretting. Your inner world is not quiet. It is not empty. It is not waiting to be filled by the right person or the right medication or the right social skills workshop. It is one of the loudest, most detailed, most alive places that exists. And you have been living there your entire life. Psychology has a name for what you are. And what it found about people like you goes so much deeper than introversion. Stay with me. Let's start with the group nobody gets right. The ones who were quiet before they even had the words to explain why. You're 7 years old. It's a birthday party, maybe yours, maybe a classmate's, and the room is full of noise. Music, laughter, kids running, someone crying because they lost a game, an adult trying to fix it, balloons, sugar, chaos, and everyone else seems to be metabolizing all of it just fine. But you are standing slightly to the side, not because you're sad, not because you weren't invited into the game, but because something in the room is pulling your attention and you can't look away. The way the light is coming through the window, the expression on that one kid's face who isn't quite having as much fun as they're pretending to. The sound of two adults talking quietly in the kitchen about something that has nothing to do with the party. You were noticing. While everyone else was participating, you were observing, taking inventory, building a map of the room that nobody asked you to build. An adult walked past and said, "Why are you so quiet? Go play." And you looked up, genuinely confused, because you were not doing nothing. You were doing everything. You just weren't doing it out loud. That was not shyness. That was the beginning of a different kind of intelligence. Psychologist Elaine Aron at Stony Brook University found that highly sensitive people, roughly 15 to 20% of the population, have a nervous system that processes sensory and emotional information at a fundamentally deeper level than others. Brain imaging studies confirmed it. The HSP brain shows significantly more activity in regions linked to awareness, empathy, and integration of complex information. More gray matter, more connectivity, more of everything. In a crowded room, while others are skimming the surface, your brain is running depth scans. You're not receiving less than everyone else. You are receiving more. The quiet on the outside is not emptiness. It's bandwidth management. That's not being antisocial. That's being overloaded with data that nobody else can even see. But the second group arrived at their quiet a different way. Not through depth, through disappointment. There was a time when you talked more, when you shared what was going on inside. You told someone about the thing you were thinking about, the idea that had been forming for weeks, the feeling you'd been trying to find words for. And they looked at you with that specific expression. The one that means they are waiting for you to finish so they can say something that has nothing to do with what you just said. Or you got excited about something, genuinely lit up, and the room didn't match your energy. Someone changed the subject. Someone laughed in the wrong place. Someone said, "Wow, you really think about things, don't you?" in a tone that was not a compliment. And you learned something quietly and permanently. Not everything that happens inside you belongs outside you. The world does not always have the capacity for what you carry. Psychologist Carl Rogers at the University of Chicago called this conditions of worth. The early understanding, absorbed before we have language for it, that certain versions of ourselves are welcomed and certain versions are not. That love and acceptance are conditional on which parts of you choose to show. You didn't become quiet because you had nothing to say. You became quiet because you learned that saying it came with a cost you weren't always willing to pay. That's not shutting down. That's protecting something real from people who couldn't hold it. Now the third group, the ones who are quiet not because they're processing or protecting, but because they have genuinely built an inner world so rich, so complete, so endlessly interesting that the outside world rarely competes. Psychologist Colin DeYoung at the University of Minnesota spent years studying the relationship between the personality trait of openness and the brain's default mode network, the system that activates when you're not focused on external tasks, when you're daydreaming, when you're imagining, when you're building something internally that nobody else can see. In people high in openness and introversion, this network is extraordinarily active. These are people who can spend hours inside a single idea, who have entire conversations in their head before deciding whether to have them out loud, who see a painting or hear a piece of music and disappear into it completely while standing perfectly still. From the outside, they look like they're doing nothing. From the inside, they are nowhere near this room. That's not absence. That's depth of access. And it is one of the rarest things a mind can do. But here's where we need to be honest. Because everything I've described, the deep processing, the self-protection, the rich interior life, all of it is real. All of it is true. And none of it is the complete picture. Because some of the quiet is not depth. Some of it is distance. And there is a difference. There is a difference between someone who doesn't speak because they are genuinely selective with their words and someone who doesn't speak because they have stopped believing their words will be received. One is a choice rooted in clarity. The other is a habit rooted in old hurt. There is a difference between solitude that restores you and isolation that has simply become familiar. Between an inner world that enriches your life and an inner world you retreat to because the outer one stopped feeling safe. Psychologist John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago spent decades studying loneliness. Not the social kind, the experiential kind. The loneliness of being surrounded by people who see the performance but not the person. He found that this specific kind of disconnection, being chronically unseen rather than chronically alone, has measurable effects on the brain, the immune system, and long-term well-being. You can be quiet and connected, or you can be quiet and slowly disappearing. And sometimes, from the inside, they feel the same. So here is the question I need you to sit with. Is your quiet a home or a hiding place? Is the inner world you've built a source of richness, a place you visit and return from, full and grounded and more yourself? Or is it somewhere you have retreated to because every time you surfaced, something out there confirmed your worst suspicion, that you are too much or not enough or simply too difficult to understand? Be honest, not with me, with yourself. because one of those is a gift, and the other is a story you might be ready to rewrite. Here's what the research says that nobody talks about. A study by Nicholas Epley at the University of Chicago found that people dramatically underestimate how interesting others find them. We assume our thoughts are ordinary, our observations unremarkable, our inner experience too specific to be relevant. And so we stay quiet, and the world gets smaller. But the quiet person in the room is almost never the least interesting one. They are usually the most. They have simply learned incorrectly that interesting requires volume. It does not. And here is something the loudest people in every room already know but would never admit. They are not unaware of you. They feel you. Your stillness registers. Your eye contact registers. The precision of what you say when you do finally say something, that registers most of all. You have more presence than you think. You are simply the only one in the room who doesn't know it. So here is your permission slip. You are not too quiet. You are not too internal. You are not missing something that other people have. You are not broken for needing silence to feel sane, for needing space to feel present, for carrying an inner world so vast that sometimes the outer one simply doesn't have room for all of it. You are not cold. You are selective with your warmth. You are not aloof. You are conserving something precious. You are not hard to know. You are layered, and layered things take time. And time for the right person is never too much to ask. The world will keep misreading you. Some people will keep insisting that quiet means empty, that still means absent, that reserved means afraid. Let them. You know what is happening inside. You have always known. And you have always been the only one who needed to. Drop a comment, even just one sentence, about something happening in your inner world right now that nobody around you knows about. I read every single one. And if this felt like the first time someone described your experience from the inside out, subscribe. I make these for the people who say the least and mean the most. And if you've ever wondered why you feel more like yourself alone than you ever do in a crowd, why solitude doesn't empty you but actually fills you back up, that one is next. Your inner world is not a consolation prize for someone who couldn't figure out how to be loud. It is the whole